Hey, good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 964. Happy Wednesday, trash day. Happy trash day. Trash is at the curb. We've still got so much trash. Do you know how much trash we have? We have so much trash. My wife said, I don't care if it's recyclable, just throw it away. In the almost 10 years we've been together, I don't think I've ever heard her say that. Everything has to be recycled. Not today. I'm sick of it. Throw it away. Throw it in the garbage. Sometimes I will sneak. If our recycle bin is full and I have some shit down here that's recyclable, I will sneak it into the garbage. I have to sneak it into the garbage because otherwise, nope, that's recyclable. Like, but it's full. Nope, throw it away. So there's a bag of recyclables in the garbage at the curb right now. That's how much shit we have to throw away. I have boxes right outside my shipping area. There's a little like inlet at the base of the stairs that go into the garage, which has become like my throwaway. Like, I've got some boxes, I can throw them back there. It's still a clean path to get to the stairs. So that's where all my empty boxes go because recycling is already full. And we're a week away from recycle day. That's where we're at. It was a busy day yesterday. The ball wall was hung. So my baseball cabinets, I tweeted out a photo of that. Nearly full. I worked until 10 o'clock last night curating my ball wall. And I'm going to share my thoughts on that and what I'm doing, what I did in doing. So that was hung yesterday. And then so we had a lot of grass seed to plant, which I am shocked at how well the grass has come up. When I've thrown grass seed in Green Thumb, I am not. Hey, I can plant a hell of a good vegetable garden, but when it comes to grass seed, I try and try again, and it just never. I think my problem is the watering. Grass needs so much water, especially from the seed. So much water. So it's been like 3 weeks, and we have like a yard, an actual yard. Yeah, there's a lot of weeds and stuff. That was a mistake we made. I was content with letting it go. My wife and my mother, namely my mother-in-law, and I think my mother-in-law gets in my wife's ear about the weeds. Gotta get rid of the weeds. Like, chill out. We don't even have grass growing yet. Let's slow it down a little bit. So my mother-in-law was here the other day, and I think that's what incited my wife to be freaking out about the weeds. So I finally had heard enough about the thistle. We have so much thistle. I had heard so much about the thistle. Like, fine, I'll take the weed be gone, spray the thistle. I checked, doesn't kill the grass. Okay, spray the thistle. We call Weed Man. Weed Man comes out, they do the spray. We made sure to tell them this is new, so I don't know what you can do. So they came over, they sprayed for weeds. So then our landscaper who planted the grass, they came over to we had our irrigation is now on an app. So they were showing us how to do the app. And he's like, oh, you shouldn't do any like weed management yet because it may hurt the grass or whatever. Oh, shit. Too late. And then we found out they also offer weed services, which we would have just hired them. We have we're closer to them than we are to some random weed man. So, oops. So the grass is coming up. So I mowed yesterday. I mowed. I wanted to do it on Tuesday because the grass dump is open late, so I can mow and then drop all the grass clippings because it was getting really thick in some places, which is good. What I failed to realize was how big the yard actually is. At, excuse me, at first glance, it's like, oh, this is the same size as our old yard. Because, our old yard went all the way back. It was narrower, but it went all the way back. This doesn't go back as far, but it's much wider. And it actually does go back pretty far because it's deceiving, because there's a hill at the back that goes down to the pond. So there's, I don't know, it's not 20 yards, probably 10 yards, 15 yards downhill. So it's deceptive. So I get out the lawnmower and I'm a pusher. So I'm pushing and huffing and puffing. And I don't realize how to strategically mow this yard because it's my first mow. Only the third time I've mowed this year. I just raised 5 fingers. Third time I've mowed the entire year between the two places. Well, because this didn't have a yard. So I'm like, oh my God. So I took a break and I'm filling bags of grass. I'm like, Jesus. And I made mention to my wife. I'm like, this is a bigger yard than I thought. And I said that a couple times. So when I was finally done, she's like, well, next year we can hire somebody. I'm like, no. This is my last. I just had a guy. We hired somebody to hang pictures for us. Like, give me the yard. I will deal with it. I know I'm lazy, but I'm not that lazy. It was a nice escape. It got me out of the house, away from my baseball cards for 2 hours. A little sweat. I need the exercise, so it's good. Just let me bitch about it. I'll mow the yard, but I will bitch about it. So got that, took it to the dump. We are grass clipping free. Yard looks good. They're going to come and overseed for us on Friday, I think. So, because there's a lot of bare spots. Hopefully we can manage the thistle. Oh, it's terrible. The thistle. So, happy Wednesday. Happy trash day. That was my day. Was a very productive day, though. Very productive day. Mowed. Got the ball wall hung and almost filled. I came down this morning. I was working on it till 10 o'clock last night. Remember, usually I'm sleeping by 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. And I'm like, well, I just kind of hit that wall because it was 10 o'clock. I didn't realize the time. I had the Cubs game on. Big win. Justin Steele powered through a comebacker in like the second inning. I'm like, oh, shit. He's not coming back for the third inning. He did. And then he just frickin' Justin Steeled his way through a quality start and a win. So big win. Cubs now 4 games behind the Brewers in the Central. They're in the second wild card position right now. 1 game up on, I think, who's right on their tail for the second, the Diamondbacks maybe. So close out the series with Milwaukee today or tonight. Not sure what time the game starts. Big win. Big dub for the Cubs. So it was 10 o'clock, and I go upstairs. I didn't realize it was 10 o'clock. I finish work down here. I go upstairs, take Biscuit out, and I'm like, oh, shit, it's 10 o'clock. So very productive day. Very productive day. Steve's in the house. What's up, Steve? Good morning to you, sir. George is in the house. What's happening? Harlan is here. Good morning. Brian Dean, what's up? David Pyers in the house. We've got Herman here. What's up, Herman? Victor, happy Wednesday to you. Matty Ice, good morning. Big win for the Cubs. Big dub Cubs. Brian Wolf, what's up? Angel Baby's been eating some burritos and drinking hot coffee. That's another thing I need to do. I need to get to the grocery store, get me some breakfast burritos. Carl, good morning. Christian in the house. Donald is here. What's up? Good morning. Volume accumulation. What's up? Good morning. I love the name. Volume accumulation. It sounds better than hoarder. Hoarder. Tops cap on. Can't beat it. Good morning. Go Nats. Flawed thinker. Zach and Porter in the house. WTF is going on with all the shade from Bellinger? Hating because he sucked till Dave Roberts released him pisses me off. Heavily invested in his cards. Well, hey, he's doing. If you're heavily invested in his cards, now is a good time to sell because the market's probably pretty hot on Cody Bellinger right now. Zach and Porter says, I'm surprised Weed Be Gone is allowed in Dane County. That's true. This joke could be taken two different directions, environment and THC. Cheers. Love it. Zach is 100%. Although you would expect one of those to be allowed in Dane County and the other to be outlawed. Dane County likes the weed, but they don't like the weed be gone. Or wait, weed be gone. Yes. Okay, wait. Now I get it. They want one. Actually, they want all the weeds. I got it. I'm just doing a terrible job at. Anyway, moving on. Carl, good morning. Back around 2000, I used to see dramatic back-to-school college sales bump on eBay. Not so in recent years until now. Sales are back from the dead this week. That's an interesting because, I was selling on eBay back in 2000, but certainly not like I am today, obviously. But, my thoughts on eBay, I don't think anything is the same as it was back in 2000 eBay wise, because back in 2000, we were on our gateway computers, our Dells, maybe our web TV. That's what I was rocking back in 99. I think I had a gateway. When did I get my gateway? I think I got a gateway computer. My first computer, I think I got Christmas 99. Or was it? No, it might have been before that. Maybe it was my birthday in 99. I bet it was my birthday in 99 because it had a CD burner. And I was Tim Zian, who lived up the street from me, Timmy Z, he was the first to have a CD burner. And so he was able to acquire clients to rip those $5 CDs. But I was might have been the second of our probably we were the main CD sellers, So I had the web TV, then I got the gateway in 99 for my senior year in high school. But that was back in the day, 56K modem. And I would have at 8 p.m., I would have my Napster queue. What's the the hell do you call it when you're not in trouble anymore? It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, I had my Napster queue, 56K modem, 9 o'clock, parents are in bed, and I've got that queue. And I could probably download 20 songs overnight in 8 hours. But I queued it up, and I've got a list. Heather Wants the Thong Song, and Destiny's Child, Bills. So I've got my client list. What songs do I have to download tonight? Lincoln's coming at me left and right. Burn CDs. I hope I wasn't taxed on that. So hopefully the IRS isn't going to be knocking on my door. You said on Hobby Evolution episode 964 that you were burning CDs in 1999. You owe us this amount plus interest. So yeah. So anyway, to eBay, 2000 eBay. Why does everybody say Sunday nights are the best time to auction? Because that's how it was in 2000, 23 years ago. Because we had to sit on our gateways or our Dells On Sunday nights, that was our computer time. Remember, I think most of us listening or watching were around when the internet was in 2000, what it was like. And you had internet time, especially if you're like my age. You would have been high school age, junior high school age when the internet was started becoming mainstream. And so your parents would give you, okay, you can be on the internet from 7 to 8 p.m. each night, maybe an extra half hour on the weekends. That was your internet time. And usually, guess what time the internet time was? On Sundays. It was prime time. And that's when everybody ended their auctions because, everybody's going to be on their computers on eBay looking for deals. Of course, it wasn't really like that, but not like it is today, certainly. But that's why everybody wants to run eBay auctions on Sunday nights, because that's what it was like 23 years. Now we have the computers in our pockets, and we can be mowing the yard, taking a break from mowing the yard, and be like, I'm going to see what auctions are ending at 3 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon. A lot different. So I'm surprised, and I don't know if I don't think any sales bumps can be directly related. I'm sure there's some to like back to school and all that. I have seen a huge uptick in sales over the last 30 days, really, because like you look back in July, it's like, so I'm on pace, and I was on the Blowout forums yesterday. I'm on pace to have my second best month in sales. Actually, I'm not on pace. I've already done it. August already, with 2 days remaining, is my second best sales month of the year. Why is that? Well, there's one main reason. I got a lot of inventory about a month ago at this thing called the National Sports Collectors Convention. And I'm still going through, and I've got a stack that I'm going to be listing at some point today of some autos, refractors, Jackson Holiday, some good stuff. And so that'll probably give me another bump in sales here over the next few days. I look at my eBay sales chart for the last 31 days, and I am up 74.2% in sales dollars. Why is that? Well, the month of July was pretty hectic around here. Moving into this house, I was gone for 4 days for a wedding. I was gone 5 full days for the National. So that's 9 days I was away from shipping and listing, listing and shipping, shipping and listing. Not to mention all the other days I was, moving all this shit. Well, I wasn't moving most of the shit. I moved some of the shit. So July was kind of and I had basically set my goal for the month of July at 50% of the norm. And I just barely, by like on the 11th hour, I hit that. And so I surpassed my my sales goal that I had set. And I typically have a similar, because people at like non-baseball card people, like my wife's grandma will ask, sharp as a whip. She's 97, I think. Sharp as a whip. She will remember. We'll be sitting at dinner, and we'll be talking about something, and we'll be talking about like a movie from like 1963, and she'll be like, "Oh, that was with Gene Autry." Like, oh shit, sharp as a whip. So she will ask. In fact, she came over to see the new house last week, and she was asking how business was going, and she's like, "Do you have?" Because my wife, my mother-in-law are in real estate, so there are certainly down times on the calendar in real estate, where it like comes to a crawl, almost a stop. Basically Thanksgiving to Christmas, it's the dead zone. And I'm like, I don't really have that, because Thanksgiving to Christmas is, I wouldn't say it's a bigger time of the year for cards, but I'll sell different things during those months. Not a lot, but I will notice sales are a little different between Thanksgiving and Christmas for likely Christmas gifts. But there's no downtime in sports card sales. Are there periods of time where it is down a little bit? Yes. Um, but for the most part, sales are steady 12 months a year, 12 months, all 12 months of the year. And there are times where it's like, okay, especially if you're baseball. August is a pretty down month if you're solely into baseball. We looked at in what were my football to baseball. Like, holy shit, I didn't realize how little football compared to baseball I have in my inventory. But I focus on baseball. I also focus on like not the hot names. Like I have a lot of Kirby Puckett's and Ozzie Smith and George Brett. That stuff moves 12 months out of the year. Jackson Holiday probably doesn't. There's certainly a down period for prospecting, and this is about the time of year. This all the way up until spring training, really. Baseball heats up in January, but those prospects, not really. You don't really see that until the season gets going, at least in my from what I see. So anyway, where are we at? Your buddy Dom's in the house. What's up? Good morning. Hope everyone has a wonderful Wednesday. Yes. And get that trash to the curb. Andy Mack, good morning. Brian's here. He wants to talk selling TVs versus selling cards. Brian has a little side hustle going, selling electronics. I love it. And now I'm going to be keeping my eye out on. I'm shocked at what some of these old TVs, like I thought like old TVs were just a pain in the ass. Like old tube TVs, but shit, there's a market for that. People spend crazy money on old tube TVs. No wonder they're at the antique mall. Uncle Rich in the house. You all know what to do, so I'll skip all that chatter. He means hit the like and subscribe buttons. Angel Baby Card says, good idea, Brian. Morning. Hail Mary hits. Angel Baby has a bunch of those 90 to 92 Upper Deck hollow cards. What's that all about? Nobody cared about them till lately. They've always been holograms, those Upper Deck holograms. Those have always been kind of a nostalgic card, and I'll move them on occasion. I think it's that nostalgia because those were like big hits back in 90, 91, 92. Everything hologram. Now it's chrome everything. Back then it was hologram. Raphael's in the house. What's up? Johnny Boy Cards in the house. Paul Heath, good morning. Michael Renicky, what's happening? Angel Baby's a bit conflicted. He's having a hard time even thinking about parting with all these sweet cards. See, that's something I wanted to touch on. What was I watching? I was watching something and I'm like, you know what? I want to talk about this. I'm starting to view my Cubs as commodities. Up until several months ago, it's like, nope, if it's Cubs, it's staying in my collection. And I started thinking about, and this has actually been, I think Matt Mervis broke the seal on my thoughts on getting rid of Cubs. Because over the course of my 1 Million Cubs project, which began in December of 2017, anything Cubs, just with the exception of like when I go to Cubs convention and get like the grab bags and there's like size small t-shirts and stuff like that. It's like, or little tchotchkes that it's like, I don't want that. I'll sell that. But certainly no Cubs baseball cards. Over the course of the coming up on 6 years, I've sold less than, Matt Mervis, so I don't know, a dozen Cubs cards. I sold some Dylan Cease Chrome Autos back when he first got called up and was having, his rookie season with the White Sox. Because I had bought them, I had hoarded Dylan Cease when he was a Cubs minor league prospect. Because you could get pitchers cheap, and really cheap back then in 2015. And so I was prospecting Dylan Cease because I could get them cheap, and if he flamed out and I couldn't sell them at profit, they're still Cubs cards. which was kind of, the one, a genesis of my project. And since then, I've sold mostly Dylan Cease and now Matt Mervis. I think that's about all I've sold. Um, but now as players come up for the Cubs and get hot, Christopher Morel, Jordan Wicks, it's like Justin Steele. Like I'm going through and I've found a bunch of first chrome Justin Steele because you could get those for like $2-3 a year or two ago and back. Because his first chrome, I think he was in the same draft year as Dylan Cease. Steele might have been 2015. I think Cease was 2014 in Bowman products. So I start now I'm starting to think do I really need 17 Justin Steele first chrome autos when I can turn that into several $100s? I never thought about that before. Even when I went into selling cards full time, it was a lot of this stuff was collected from before I went into selling cards full time. And now I'm much more strategic with what I buy. I'm just not pissing away $5 bills on, here's another Sandberg. I need 37 of these. I'm more strategic. Like I can use this $5 and buy, use it for something I need or, save it up for a bigger purchase. So I'm starting now to okay, do I really need? And I'm going through and finding I was going through some boxes. I'm still in the process of organizing the shipping room next door. So I'm moving some stuff. My wife is always right. I think that should have been the topic today. My wife is always right. So when we put these cabinets in, it wasn't by plan for those built-ins. There was a measurement problem upstairs. And so those cabinets were supposed to be in the living room. So I get hand-me-downs, which, hey, that's a really nice cabinet. And so I'm like, I suppose. And now it's like, shit, I'm glad I didn't say, no, I don't want it. I like it. I love it now. But there's cabinets, you can store stuff. And I'm like, and I think I actually uttered the words, I don't have anything to put in there. What an idiot I am. I don't have anything to put in there. So I'm going through and I'm like, what am I going to, I'm putting supplies and stuff some stuff that I actually use in this room are going in there. And I put some of my Cubs boxes in there. And I'm going through and I'm just kind of consolidating, seeing what I want to put in there. And I've Justin Steele, for example. It's oh, wow, I had more Justin Steele autographs than I thought. And it's you know what? It's hard to, since for 2 years, I've been doing this full time, coming up on 2 years. And I've been so I've drawn this line and it's so defined. And now the thought of wiping that line away. And my fear is if I wipe that, where do I stop? So before I turn my Cubs into commodities, the ones that, do I need 17 Justin Steele autographs and put them up on eBay? Where do I do it? Do I okay, I'll sell a couple. Do I keep 15 of them? Sell a couple? Obviously I'm going to keep at least one of everything. But where do I draw that line? Because a new line, I think, will be drawn. And when will it be drawn? Will I wait until I hit 1 million, which is right around the corner? I am unofficially at 983,000 and change. However, that's the new number is probably around 985,000 because I have picked up a couple thousand since that count, and I am keeping track. I'm just not releasing the numbers. I'm trying to control it. control it. So that was a thought I had, and I don't know where the conflict that Angel Baby is having, parting with these sweet cards. And for me, it's not that it's part of it is, okay, what are you going to do when you hit 1,000,000? I don't know. I've got 1,000,000 Cubs cards. I'm going to sort them. So what is the reason I started the project was because I had 1,000,000 cards that I didn't want, turn them into 1,000,000 cards that I do want. But do I want 17 Justin Steele autographs? Do I want all this? I don't know. That's something that I've got to fight with myself on. Oh yeah, statute of limitations. That's what I was thinking of earlier. Thank you, Uncle Rich. That's exactly what I was, the statute of limitations. So with Angel Baby's comment, he's conflicted. And I was also watching Hobby Think Tank with Mike Moynihan and our friend John Keating, that 70s card show. And Mike had just bought a collection, and he's talking about, all these cards that he wants. But he's also got, he's fighting that same battle. It's like, but I do this, he doesn't do it full time, but he's, he buys these collections to sell, or, this one, that was kind of the reason. And Mike's a little more like, my collection is pretty like, it's black and white Cubs. Now, and you're like, well, there's a lot of Cubs out there. Like when I buy collections, it's not like, and I've mentioned this before, when I buy a collection, it's not like 75% Cubs cards. Because if it was, I probably wouldn't buy it unless the price was really, really good. And then it wouldn't be a business transaction. It would just be a PC. Like, oh, I'm just going to buy this for my Cubs collection. And then, because I've bought some small like autograph lots, 25 Cubs autos. And there's, in fact, the boxes I was going through. There's 2 non-Cubs autographs. There's a Dansby Swanson rookie patch auto, like numbered to 99 or something. I'm like, oh shit, I need to put this on eBay. And then there was a Trey Mancini auto. It's like, shit, probably should have sold this a year ago. So those are some of the things that it's like, I buy these for the Cubs, but hey, I'll sell the Oriole and the Brave card, and recoup some of that money back. And that's the thing with like, but if you're like just a general collector, Hall of Fame collector, you love vintage, then it's a little more difficult to decide what you want to keep for your own collection, what you decide to sell. Cubs, it's pretty easy. And there's no like big, and I'm also not really buying collections. I buy bulk. And there's a difference. In fact, I think I've probably only I've bought a couple collections, but not like on the grand scale that you see on Chasing Cardboard or what Mike Moynihan picked up recently. In fact, the only like true like cool collection, good collection, I bought, I think in 2017, from Steve, who's actually coming over tonight, and he's going to sell me some more stuff. And we've kept in contact. He sold me like his entire collection that he, from a kid in the 70s all the way to when he quit in the early 90s as an adult. And he's like, I'm done. I just want to cash out. And so I bought everything. And during COVID, so that was, I think, in 2017. And we had like kept in touch, we'd text every once in a while. And then during COVID, like right during the height of COVID in 2020, he texts me and says, hey, I started buying cards again. So I'm going to keep some of these, and then I'm going to sell the rest. He's like, I'll offer you them at this price. I looked through. I'm like, okay, let's do it. And then so he comes out to my card show and he's kind of active again. So he's accumulated another, and this is not a collection, this is just a bulk buy. So he's going to bring some stuff over. I don't know what it is. He actually brought some over a few months ago before we moved here, and he came over and I'm like, I just at that time I was just not. I had too much. We were in the process of this, so I'm like, once we get settled in, I'm interested. But like, if you want to get rid of it, just sell it. Try to sell it. He's like, oh no. He's like, I can wait. I'm like, okay, well, I am interested, but let's wait until August, September. And so I saw him Saturday at the Madison Card Show, and he's like, hey, what do you settled in? Like, I can bring that stuff over. I'm like, yeah, let's do it Wednesday night. So he's gonna stop by. So tomorrow I'll show you what I pick up. Where we at? So that's kind of what that's what I'm going through as I approach 1 million Cubs. What do I do next? I'm certainly not collecting 2 million, so don't even go there. Not going to collect 2 million. I'm not going to sell it. I'm not going to call Ken Golden and say, hey, the 1 million Cubs collection is up for sale. Not going to do that. I was thinking, the thought that crossed, what the hell was it? I was thinking, I don't know if this stemmed from a chat I was in or just something I saw in a Facebook post. But if like a World Series, if a Cubs World Series, say Chris Bryant, if a Chris Bryant game worn from the World Series, now money be like there's pretend there's no monetary value. Like this is like PC. This is not like a trade to resell and flip and all that. This is just, would I 1-for-1 replace Chris Bryant's game used Game 7 World Series uniform and World Series ring? I would not trade my entire Cubs collection for that. And I think, and you can't, like, this is not like, well, you could, if your collection's worth this much, that is probably worth $1 million or $2 million, whatever the price is. No, there's no money attached to this. The reason why, for me, is that stuff means nothing to me. I mean, it does. Like, I shouldn't say nothing. It means something. But it means a lot more to Chris Bryant or somebody, because that was, and I guess it's more so the ring. The ring itself, I can buy a replica Cubs World Series ring. I think I have one somewhere that I bought from like Alibaba. I can buy a replica because the replica represents the exact same thing as the real thing. I didn't earn it. Sometimes I think I did by stressing out on the couch watching the games, but I wasn't a part of the team in any fashion. So, like, to me, and I guess there's the value, like I can just go buy it for $20 on Alibaba. But I'm curious, and it doesn't have to be Cubs World Series, but like, what would you like if something like that were presented, like your main PC, if you were able to trade it for like a game used uniform or Super Bowl ring, World Series ring, would you do it? And like, to me, it doesn't mean, because I didn't earn it. I didn't like, and I can go buy a replica and I can go buy a jersey. Like, it doesn't really, it's like, like my cards, like I've spent how many years? Almost 6 years accumulating, collecting, hoarding Cubs baseball cards. And there's a lot of stories attached. And there's been friendships that have been developed over these baseball cards. So that means something. Like, so to me, my collection means something to me because I've I've collected it. It's part of me. Whereas that game used uniform or that ring, it's like if Chris Bryant says, "Hey, I'll trade you my World Series ring for all of your Cubs cards." It's like, no. Because to me, my Cubs collection means the same as that World Series ring does to him. It's part of him. He earned that. He fielded that grounder and threw it to first base and raised his arms in winning excitement. So that was something that crossed. I don't even know why I thought that. I think there was like I don't know. I'm sure it was some random discussion I was in on a group chat talking about game use stuff. I think it was talking about game use stuff. And then for some reason that popped into my head. It's like, because I like game use stuff is cool, but it's cards are my thing. You can't do both. I can't afford to do both. Dude, you're getting it down. Morning, Dorky Angler in the house. Web TV. That's how Carl started. Clunky as hell, but it worked. Hell yeah. My first eBay was through Web TV back in 1998, 1999. Web TV. Dan in the house. What is up? Flawed Thinker says, I received the dreaded cease and desist letter from Warner Brothers in college. They're like, we know you're doing it, but we can't prove. Oh, see, I escaped. I remember one time there was like, wasn't there like a 12-year-old girl that like taken to court for it? And I think that was like sending a message. And then I remember sitting at Parkside Sports Bar in Macomb, Illinois. And I don't know if that like flashed on the screen, that news story. And like me and my buddy, my roommate at the time, like and I think that was, and this was like later on, this is like in the early 2000, like 2004. And like we had like for whatever high speed internet was in 2004, that's what we had. And you could like over 56K, like you could down like, and so we would get letters from Infobon Outfitters, which was the local in Macomb. It was the internet provider, and we would get phone calls and emails from our internet provider saying, "Hey, there's a lot of stuff going," because we were using so much bandwidth downloading all this stuff. Back then, it was probably Kazaa. We were downloading from Kazaa. What was the other one that we used? So I went from Napster to like Kazaa to there was another one I can't remember. Angel Baby says everybody was burning CDs and making flashcards full in the late 90s because of Napster and Kazaa. Do you remember your first eBay purchase? I think mine was a Sterling Sharp starting lineup in 98. I don't remember specifically what my first eBay purchase was, but I do remember a few. I bought a Rick Sutcliffe autographed baseball, a Ty Griffin autographed baseball. I still have the Ty Griffin autographed baseball in my ball wall. Manny Alexander game used bat, which I also still have. What else? That's the Vernon Morgan scrapbook, like personal scrapbook from his estate. Which I later sold. I kind of parted out, and then the bulk of it went back to a museum in his hometown. So that was nice. That was from a Yahoo auctions, back when Yahoo had auctions. So those are, I don't know exactly which was my first one, but those were some of my first eBay purchases. What Jackson Holiday are you listing? I think I have a couple. It's the inserts. Man, I was looking up Jackson Holiday the other day. This one, Modern Prospect insert. His first papers are up to like $15. And I sold like 50 of them for $250 a pop. I think to somebody that listens to the show. Because I had like between two purchases, I had like 250 of them. Most of them sold for $5 a piece. And I was happy with that because I made my money back and then some. Let's see. We were doing eBay back in 99, 2000, and ever since. Not sure why you care about Sterling Sharp, though. Well, he's a fan of Sterling Sharp. Why wouldn't he? Let's see. Angel Baby doesn't notice the passage of time. I know exactly what I was doing in 91, 92 Clears Day. What's the word on Kirby Puckett? I have no idea. No idea. Dorky Angler says, I sell lots of 90s holograms. They're pretty cool. Just listed some hockey ones. The hobby has kind of hard on for those 90s Topps All-Star cards. Hard to believe, but it's true. Philly Joe's in the house. Zach and Porter says, smart to sell Cubs and drag out the journey to them. There you go. Hey, that's a way to like really slow things down. I'll just start like, oh, we're at 985,000 today, but 984,000. We're still trying to get there. I like it. I like it. Kyle's in the house. What's up? Good morning. Where we at? Flawed Thinker. What do you do when you have multiple hundreds of the same card, list as a lot or individually? So I've talked about this a few times and it varies. If it's like I have a lot of like Bowman, recent Bowman, like if I buy paper, cases of paper, I will list in quantity. So I'll take Jackson Holiday, for example, 150 Jackson Holiday in one listing. If it's like 80s cards where centering is a big issue, I typically list those individually because each card back then is different. But today, not really the case. It's got to be like, for there to be a difference, a noticeable difference, I'm selling raw cards. Like you're not going to find Gem Mint 10 cards in my store. If you do, you're lucky. And people have. I had somebody buy, I always hate getting the eBay message, especially on like a higher ticket item for me. This was like $100. This was back when Eloy Jimenez was big in the hobby. And I sold like an auto or low serial number. It was $100 card. Gets delivered, and then I get a message. And 95% of those messages are, there's a scratch. It's like, but this one was, hey, this is perfect. I think it's going to gem. Wow. Okay. I'll take that. So, I need to state that like, hey, this card has flaws. So modern cards, I'll do quantity. 80s on back, I do individually. Carlo does vintage. What's up? Angel Baby says, there's no crying in baseball. Harlan wants me to collect 1 million bears. That's not going to happen either. Rich says, it is time for me to start my day. But as I always say, if you are full-time in cards, the minute you hit that million milestone, it's time to start selling. And I'm not going to do that either. I mean, I will. I mean, I'll probably sell the more I talk this out. And what has more and more led this is curating my ball wall. And so I'm going to talk about my ball wall here in a second. But as I curate my ball wall, I realize I have duplicates of a lot of autographed baseballs. Justin Steele is one of them. I didn't realize I had multiple Justin Steele autographed baseballs. I've kind of turned my focus over the last year to 2 years to cards when I get them in person because I had so many autographed baseballs. I have 2 huge tubs. I have like 600 autographed baseballs. And, 300 of those are not being displayed. They're in a tub. And it's like, do I really need the 29th rated prospect in the system in autographed baseball? The answer is yes. The answer is yes, but I think about it further. It's like, well, yes, but maybe. So I have like 4 Bill Madlock autographed baseballs. I have, who else? I have like 3 Ryan Dempster autographed baseballs. I don't need 3 Ryan Dempster autographed baseballs. Let's chill out on the autographed baseballs. And so I'm probably going to list them. I would say of what I'm going to be listing, well, probably 100% of them I got in person, so I know they're legit. I will guarantee them to pass authenticity. Um, I know the origin. I can tell you where I bought the baseballs from in most cases. Oh, I bought this is a Dick's Sporting Goods ball, or yeah, I got that over at Gammon, the mall. Or oh yeah, this is from uh, I have some vintage baseballs like from the 70s, late 70s. And then one of my buddies, I bought them because I got them cheap. I got like a dozen for $100, or maybe it was 2 dozen for $100. My buddy's like, dude, you can sell those for like $25 a piece. I'm like, really? And I think I ended up selling them for because I think I had a dozen are now autographed, but I got a dozen left over. And I sold them for like $20 a pop. I'm like, oh shit, made some decent money on that. I was just getting them because they were cheap. I could get them signed. So that's kind of what spurred, okay, I don't need to keep everything Cubs related. I don't need 3 Ryan Dempster autographed baseballs. I don't need 4 Bill Madlock autographed baseballs. I don't need 2 Ray Burris autographed baseballs. I do need one of each. You're like, you don't need anything. Air and water, that's all you need. Sounds like something my dad would say. So that's kind of one thing that's kind of excelled that thought process. Like, okay, you know what? I don't need all this extra, especially if it's sitting and like the cards are sitting in boxes. And it's almost like that Marie Kondo. But I'm not going to go that far. We're not going to go that far. But kind of take advantage of the market. I don't need to get rid of, if I have extra Corey Patterson autographed cards, like Bowman autos, like I can keep those in my collect because they're a couple bucks. It's like, would I buy this at the price I can sell it at? And if the answer is yes, then I'm not going to sell it. But if I can take advantage of the market, like Justin Steele is going to finish in the top 3 in National League Cy Young voting, just like I predicted. Fingers crossed. We still have a month left of the season. I've got multiple Justin Steele autographs, a baseball, and multiple Bowman Chrome autos. I can take advantage of the market. And would I go out and buy what they're selling for today? Would I buy if I didn't have it? Would I spend that money? And the answer is no. So if the answer is no to me buying it at that price, I'm selling. So that's how I look at it. Rich says there are 2 people you should listen to. Your wife is one, and I'm the other one. The almighty and wise Uncle Rich Klein. Well said. Zach and Porter says, if I'm your wife, when you said this yard was much bigger than expected, says the guy collecting 1 million Cubs cards. Touche. New line drawn. Keep the numbered ones, sell the rest. There you go. Here's the plan. Reach your goal. Open your New York Life account, then create your buckets. Then as you sell, instead of eating the seed corn, you reinvest but your annuity. Ziggy Knows in the house. What's up? Cheers to you. Robert in the house. I closed my 2,400 card store a few days ago. Got tired of eBay siding with people claiming I sent them damaged cards. Yeah, I've been running into that. Of course, eBay would put a hold on my funds. I do not understand why I do paperwork. I have recently, and this could also be the result of increased sales. The more sales you make, the more problems you will incur. It's all a numbers game. And I've had an uptick in, damage claims. This has. It's like, look at the fucking picture. You got the same card that's in the picture. That's why and people lean on, well, it's not in the description. But nobody reads the description until it's time that they want a partial refund or they want to game the system. Well, it's not in the description. You probably didn't even read the goddamn description. So I'm just going to write in the description, this is a PSA 5, if you're lucky. It has flaws. Deal with it. Yeah. running into more and more issues here recently. Like, and I'm talking like within the last 2 weeks recent. But I've also had quite the uptick in sales over previous months as well. So that just comes with the territory. Flawed Thinker says, besides one Daryl Strawberry card, I only collect Ryan Zimmerman. That way I'm not conflicted with holding anything. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's see. Philly Joe says it makes sense. You can always replace your cards. Definitely. And if you sell when the market's hot, like, it's shocking to me how many people, especially people I chat with on a daily basis, like as soon as Jordan Wicks makes his debut, they want to buy Jordan Wicks cards. It's like, why weren't you buying Jordan Wicks cards 6 months ago? Because you can, or wait 6 months, or actually wait 3 months. Like, why wait until he strikes out 9 batters in his major league debut to go out and buy cards when they're 10x the market? But people do it. FOMO is real. I wish more collectors would get it. And actually, no, I don't, because I can take advantage as a seller. Like, oh, Jordan Wicks, I know people that want to buy it 10x the market. I'm going to list them. And people are like, people will never learn. People won't ever learn. It's since baseball cards have become a commodity and a business, people have fallen into FOMO and buying 1990 Fleer base rookies of Kevin Moss for $5 a pop. And it's only going to continue. Let's see. Brian says, I need a replica ring. I did just get 3 new 2016 World Series champs. Nike hats. Very cool. Let's see. Angel Baby says, I'm in no way into the series rings. Just saying. Christian says, Lions Super Bowl ring. Trade it all. The Lions have never, I see what you did there, Christian. Lions have never won a Super Bowl. So if the Cubs pre-2016, I probably would trade it all. I'll give you all my Cubs baseball cards for a World Series ring because it never happened. Now it's happened. I've experienced it. I don't want the ring. I'm keeping the cards. Happy hump day, grinding for good. What's up? James says, Parkside drinking Keystone. See, I was an ignorant beer snob. And what I mean by that is I looked down upon Keystone. I drank the good stuff, Bud Light. That was the good stuff. That was the expensive. When you're 21, 22 years old, Bud Light was expensive. And the reason I was ignorant, because I didn't have the money to buy Bud Light. I should have been drinking Keystone. But I had this magical thing called a credit card. And I learned very quickly why they tell you not to get credit cards when you're a dumbass 21-year-old. I learned the hard way. And that was the first time I had to sell my collection. LimeWire. That was another one I used. Yeah, there were a whole bunch of them, but LimeWire is what I was thinking of. Napster, Kazaa, LimeWire. Those were the 3 main ones. There were a couple other ones that I used every once in a while, if like LimeWire or Kazaa, because Napster was the big one in the night, like before they shut it down. And then it was like Kazaa, LimeWire. I used those. BearShare was a Napster Kazaa. I never used BearShare. Jason Puck says LimeWire. Absolutely. I tried to never look back on the what if. I just held on for a little longer. If I made money, then I'm all good. I do look back because it's actually fun for me to look back. It's also, when you look back and realize and make some of these realizations, it's a learning experience. But you can't lean on it as a crutch. Some people lean on it as a crutch. Well, I sold this Mike Trout rookie for $5. Now it's worth $500. So I'm just going to keep everything. Because then you're going to run into, there's only one Mike Trout rookie that went from $5 to $500. All of the others went from $5 to $0.25 or less. So I've often wondered, actually, yesterday, I thought about this, or the other day, I was driving wherever I was, and I thought, I wonder if in all like the bulk buy, if I would have kept everything, well, then also I think as I think this out, if I kept everything, I wouldn't have money to reinvest and buy future collections. But what if I just kept everything I bought and didn't sell anything, and then today decided to sell? I wonder what I would have. And I can tell you from looking back, Kevin Maitan, Bowman Chromato, I would be able to sell it for about $2.50 today, but I sold it for $125 in 2017. But those early Ronald Acuna autos that I sold for whatever, like, I wonder how it all outweighs. That Giannis that I sold for 75, actually, I think it was $67 that I sold it for, would be significantly more, probably at least 1,000 today. So I wonder if I just, whatever I bought and kept. But then there's also, like, if I kept everything, I wouldn't had money to buy the other stuff that I did end up buying. If I could turn back time. Kyle says, do you have any non-Cubs cards that are in your collection, like any Bears or Bulls cards? No. Nope. Nothing. The only PC non-Cubs cards I have would be my Ryan Sandberg minor league card. I have a Joe Tinker Cracker Jack, which is a Chicago Federal League card. I get Fergie Jenkins rookie. I've got some Rizzo rookies and first Bowmans. Some Jake Arrieta rookies and first Bowmans. But outside of that, like, as far as my PC, I guess there's a couple Sammy Sosas. I keep like a couple rookies. But outside of that, no. And certainly not others. Like, I don't have any Bears or Bulls. Like, many times I've wanted to start a Bears PC, especially cards from like that were, very nostalgic for me. I sell them because they just like, what am I gonna? I'm just gonna put them in a box. If I want, I can buy it, but I do not. Mark hopped on late. What's up? Good morning. My first eBay purchase was a Tom Seaver rookie card. Paid $200 back in '99. Very nice. I don't even, what's the market rate on that today? Doesn't matter if you state that it has flaws or not. Customers won't read it. Exactly. Unless it's not in there. And then they'll come back and say, well, it wasn't in the description. Because I did that when I worked in logistics. I was on the sales side. I'd get loads to send out to the operations team. And they would always, it wasn't in the details. And then you put it in the details. Oh, there's too many details. I'm not reading all that. What do you want? Do you want no details? Or do you want all the details? Because if I didn't put all of the details in there, the one thing, it wasn't in the load. And that's how it is on eBay. Nobody reads the descriptions until they want to game the system. And they're fishing for a partial refund or a free card. I buy a good amount from sellers on eBay to try to send to grading, and if I find it's not worthy, then I just do what I can to at least break even on it. Victor, what's up? I'll be interested on the signed baseballs. Sounds good. Hall of Fame card collector. Good morning. I'm currently at work right now, so can't catch the show live. Thanks for stopping in. Good morning, Sal Dougie, the rubber match. It's today. I know we've got Kyle Hendricks on the bump. I don't know who the Brewers are throwing today. Brian's in the house. First time I actually sat down in a while and watched a Brewers game. Really hope they do better today. I hope they don't. I hope instead of a 1-0 game, it's an 8-0 Cubs win. Good morning. Stuke is in the house. My neighbor worked for the Cubs, has a ring. I'm still trying to wear it. Very nice. What was he What was he? What capacity did he work for the Cubs? We're talking beer. Finally, a topic I excel in. In college, it was the poor man's Miller Lite. It was either the Beast, oh yeah, or Lion's Head. The Beast. That was even below. Like that was desperate times if it was the Beast. So we had Keystone was our like Keystone and then Busch Light. I turned my dad onto Busch Light when I was like 18. Like, Dad, you got to drink Busch Light because he grew. I grew up with my dad drinking Old Milwaukee Light. That was his thing. And then he went to Keystone. He was drinking Keystone for a long time. And then I turned him on to Busch Light. And he was a Busch Light guy for till death. Till death, he was drinking the Busch Light. Busch. Brian paid $5 a cup at college parties to drink the Beast. Oh. I remember we threw a kegger and we wanted to like throw like an upscale keg. We got Killian's Irish Red. Oh. Like, and I didn't like I could probably drink it today. And I don't think I've had a Killian's Irish Red since 2005. Killian's Irish in a keg. Oh, because I was drinking Bud Light, Busch Light. And then I had this Killian's Irish Red out of a keg. Let's see. Only 2 cards sold that I wish I kept. Babe Ruth jumbo jersey of 15 and LeBron Jordan. Oh my God. Dual auto patch, exquisite 23 out of 23. It was shown on the Beckett cover 1 month. Holy crap. That's that's not even a mod. That's like a grail. Holy shit. That's amazing. Let's see. If your customers talk like that, I can understand why you left. It was not fun. Flipping Sports Guy, and even if it's in your description, eBay will cite it. Exactly. It's a lose-lose. It's a lose-lose. I put a disclaimer in my description. This card may have damage to the corners, edges, and surface. I think I'm going to do that just to say, well, it was in the description. Because now they can say, well, it's not in the description. So now it's in the description. It has flaws, and you can see the goddamn picture. Look at the corners of the goddamn picture. You got what you bought. Robert says, that is what hurts. I busted my butt getting a good inventory. Sales were beginning to pick up. I may need to reconsider. I have 15 cards on my eBay. Well, hey, you're starting back. It's just a numbers game. The more transactions you do, the more headaches you're gonna. So if you can handle the headaches, do it. But if it's gonna lead to stress and unhappiness, don't. Just find another platform or just go to card shows or don't sell. But it is a numbers game. I can't remember, but I think my neighbor worked in marketing with the Cubs. Very cool. Zimas. Something different. Everclear. I never did Everclear. Zima. I loved Killian's. That takes me back. I would buy cases of that in college while my roommates would drink light, etc. Yeah. I was like, Busch Light was kind of, by the time I was in like Busch Light, Bud Light were my two things. Like if I was at the bar, it was Bud Light. If I went to buy beer, it was Busch Light. Coors Light was another one. Because sometimes they don't carry Bud Light. Like Bud Light, Coors Light, Miller Light. Those are like the three. The three whatever. So that's like if I go somewhere now, it's like Coors Light or Bud Light. Those are my two. If I'm in for the long haul. If I'm just out for a couple beers, I'll drink a craft. But if it's like at a ball game, I'm not drinking craft beer at a ball game because it's a marathon. And I can't do higher ABV in a marathon. I don't know. You can say all card sales are final. You can't. You can say anything you want, but it doesn't mean it's true. You can say that, but you're shit out of luck because eBay is going to say, no, That's not how this works here. Let's see. Flipping Sports Guy says every party we threw it was Beast kegs, but the VIP keg was Miller Lite. There you go. Robert is paranoid. Don't even worry about feedback. Do not worry about feedback. I just got a negative from somebody. The card he showed was the exact same card that was in the picture. It's like, I'm not even going to fight it. Like, I'm not going to go to eBay and have it try to have it removed because eBay won't remove it. So it's just a waste of my time. He wasn't happy with it. So that's the thing. When you're in sales, you're going to upset people. So you just have to let it ride. Like, you can't please everyone, especially when you're doing thousands or even hundreds of transactions. You're not going to please everyone. And there are people out there that are just assholes. And they are just out there to get free cards and their money back. And you're going to run into those folks. And you just have to deal with it. And it is what it is. It's a part of doing business. So it is a part of doing business. Mark says our dorm's choice was Pabst PB Army ASAP. Tasted like camel vomit. I've never tried camel vomit, but it doesn't sound good. We rolled some herbs to unwind. Oh, you had Weed Man over. I mailed out 2 cards purchased on eBay, and they ended up at the wrong address. Fortunately, they both came back to me, and I sent them to the correct addresses. Still waiting on feedback. So I'm getting about my clip on feedback received is 35%, 40% of my transactions I get feedback from. And I think that's just what you expect. I do automated. So as soon as somebody pays, they get a positive feedback. And that did increase the feedback I received as a seller when I went to automated upon payment. So real quick, I did the ball wall yesterday. So I'm just about finished curating. So the old ball wall at the other house, at the old house, I kind of had a theme a little bit, not really. I had one case that was like 2016 Cubs, like, and people that were affiliated with that World Series team. So Tom Ricketts, Jed Hoyer, Jason McLeod, Theo, the anthem singer Wayne Messmer, and then of course the players. So that's so I've obviously carried that on, and I've picked up some World Series balls along the way that were not just, they were in tubs in storage. So I decided, so once they were hung, I'm like, well, I'm going to do this ball wall, this 2016 World Series wall cabinet. So what else am I in it? And I'm like, maybe I'll do a Cubs Legends in this one and then just throw balls wherever. And a lot of them have been faded. By the way, the cabinets are UV protected. The cubes I use are also UV protected. I know people are concerned about my baseballs. So they're UV protected. But they still fade because some of them are cheap China balls, and they just fade. So I noticed as I was looking at the baseballs, like some are like, you can't even, it's like, oh, this is going back in a storage tub. So I'll have to replace it. So I decided, I was like, so I've got 8 cabinets on the wall, which fit 240, 272, 82, 92, 302, 304 baseballs on my wall. Because the cabinets that I buy at I think it's SF Supply, they're smaller. They fit 40 balls, not in cubes. So I bought 2 of them, and they do fit balls with cubes, but only 32, 4 per row. So, and they're a little smaller than the other cabinet. Obviously, they're a little smaller. So those are the 2 on the end. So I got thinking, I'm like, I've got to curate it somehow. I can't just like be like, oh yeah, there's a Mark Grace over here next to Sam Thorson, Cubs minor leaguer. So like, I don't want to alphabetize it, because then like if I get somebody that I don't have, I have to move it. 250 balls around. Not going to do that. Like, how can I curate it and it'll be easier if I do pick up, the Cubs first rounder at Matt Shaw. Like, if I get him at spring training next year, where am I going to put the Matt Shaw ball? So I'm like, okay, I think this is what I'm going to. So I curated, I've got my 2016 cabinet. Next to my 2016 cabinet is current roster and top prospects, because I would have done current roster, but there's a few that are in the 2016 cabinet. And I kind of, like I said, I turned my focus to cards here recently. So I haven't been getting a lot of baseballs signed at spring training the last 2 springs. So I'm like, wow, I don't even have 40 like current players and top pro. Like, I had to really dive deep to get some of the minor league guys in the cabinet. So that's the second cabinet. And then I'm going like basically by decades. So then the next cabinet is basically 70s back, which I basically have like right around 40. I think there were a couple that just kind of got thrown in to another cabinet. Then I've got the 80s cabinet, and then a 90s cabinet, and then a 2000s cabinet, and then the 2000, that's like kind of, and then there's like a minor league. The last one's like a minor league, like mishmash. So it's not 100% accurate. Like, I think there's a Matt Alexander who played in the 70s. I think he's in my 80s cabinet. He might have been thrown into the mishmash. So it's not complete, but I think I need to turn my focus back to some baseballs next spring for spring training, because there are some guys that I'm missing. I went through and I'm like, oh, I didn't realize I did have a Pete Crow Armstrong on the sweet spot. I thought he side paneled me, but he didn't. Sweet spotted it. So I do have a PCA ball. I had a Jordan Wicks ball, which I didn't think I had a Jordan Wicks signed baseball. But I'm looking at the top 10 prospects list. I only have 4. Usually I have like 8 or 9. And I knew I wouldn't have Matt Shaw because he was just drafted. But like, I don't have a Jackson Ferris baseball. I don't have who else is in the top 10 prospects that I don't have? Cade Horton. Because I missed him at the South Bend Cubs game both times. Kevin Alcantara, who I've actually had signed. He signed for me like 4 times, but cards each time. So it's like, well, shit. I didn't realize I needed a baseball of some of these guys. So that's how I've curated the ball wall. Robert says, do you feedback at time of sale or at? So my feedback is automated, and it automatically is left upon payment. And I know some people say, well, what if it's a bad transit? Like, you can't leave negative feedback anyway as a seller, so you might as well. And it's even out of my thousands and thousands of transactions, there's only a couple times where I wish I could take my positive back. And at the end of the day, just suck it up and move on. So it's upon payment, and there's far more benefits than not when doing that. Baseball card curmudgeon in the house. What is up? Good morning to you. We've got Joe Webster just about wrapping up. Flipping Sports Guy says Bo only wants to play with the balls once. That's what she said. That is correct. I don't want to play with them more than once. So hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Hit my eBay store up, 99centcards.com. I've got some card shows coming up. I have been building some boxes. I've been building some, I'm starting a new football quarter box, starting a new baseball quarter box, and I'm building dollar boxes. So these are my upcoming card shows. The next show I'll be set up at, I'll be in the Chicago suburbs. So I know some of you may be in that area. So if you're around St. Charles, I know Madison coming up here is a haul from Chicago. So I will be in St. Charles on Sunday, a week from this coming Sunday. So about 10 days, 11 days away at the Kane County Fairgrounds. Yes, the same Kane County as the Cougars, formerly of minor league baseball. I think now they're like a collegiate team or something. So Sunday, September 10th at the Kane County Fairgrounds, St. Charles, Illinois. And then a couple weeks later, Saturday and Sunday, the 23rd and 4th, that is the big Midwest premiere, the big show, over 200 tables at the Indoor Sports Center just outside of Rockford. It's basically Rockford, Loves Park, Illinois. So those are my next shows. And of course, the next Madison card show is Saturday, September 30th at the Sheraton Hotel on John Nolan Drive. Let's see where we at. Brian says, I'm set to leave feedback after they leave positive feedback. You can do that. What I find is buyers, if you're a seller, buyers wait for the seller to leave positive feedback because the seller's end is done before the buyer's end, right? Yeah. Because the seller completes his side of the transaction before the buyer does. So when it came to feedback, I used to be like, buyer should leave feedback first. Now I've flipped it. And I think seller should leave feedback first because the seller has completed his side of the transaction before the buyer has. So the seller gets paid and ships the card. His side of the transaction is now complete. The buyer receives the card. It's to his liking, and now he leaves the positive feedback. It shouldn't be a pissing contest. Like, seller leaves feedback, ships the item, buyer receives the item, and leaves appropriate feedback. If he gets swindled, he leaves negative feedback. If he likes the card, he gets positive feedback. Paul does his feedback when delivered. I had a buyer say they didn't receive it when the item was delivered. eBay told me to put it in the feedback, and they told me to report the buyer. Sometimes that happens, that it's marked delivered, but they don't get it. Could be many reasons. I don't really trust the United States Postal Service, so that's why I leave it upon payment, because it is what it is. I leave positive feedback no matter what, unless the buyer is an absolute bag. There you go. All right. So I'm going to wrap things up. I'm going to go ship. I've got to finish the ball wall. I think I'm going to do that first, and then I'll ship. So have a great Wednesday. Take your trash out. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. Shop my eBay store. Buy some cards. We'll be back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central. See you then.